There's a reason for that. They're just waiting for other vote to come in. But there's an excitement there that they're finally going to get over the top.
Oh, absolutely. There is an excitement here. And we've been talking to folks on the ground. The fact that Georgia will most likely flip for former President Trump again. They've said things like, enjoy this moment. We worked hard for this. Enjoy the fact that we're bringing safety back to America. They're very happy that their candidate is probably going to take home the win here. And, I've been talking to voters on the ground for days now, and I got a lot of people that said they waited and they took time to make their decision, and ultimately it came out to Trump for them. So a very dedicated voting base here. And in this room, we're at the GOP watch party. Obviously, they're quite excited.
Yeah. All right, Madison, thank you so much. By the way, there hasn't been a lot of count in Georgia in the last 45 minutes or so. So we'll see where that stands.
We'll get a look at that and see where that's going. But what about Tennessee, which we called a really long time ago? I know everyone's wondering what is happening in Tennessee, but Pete Hegseth can answer that question for us because he is in Nashville. Did you hear, Pete, that we called Tennessee?
A while ago.
With 0% of precincts reporting, yes, which I very much appreciate. And so did the crowd here. My kind of state. But I'm telling you, we're having a lot of fun. We're at Kid Rock's in downtown Nashville on Broadway. And behind me, I've got a lot of intelligent, independent women behind me who are really fired up about the outcome tonight. I mean, you guys are like John Madden and Pat Summerall calling a football game. Every call you make, this crowd erupts. And when they erupt, it is based on a call you're making. And it's been fascinating to watch the energy in the room increase as the odds have moved in favor of Trump winning. And we've been talking to voters all night. This is what I love about election night. You guys know this. You've got pundits, you've got polls, and on election night, the people speak. And the people here are watching this may be a bright red state where their vote doesn't necessarily matter in the Electoral College, but they're watching their fellow Americans cast ballots on behalf of a candidate they believe in. So a lot of energy, and I think it represents a lot of living rooms where maybe families of 4 or 5 are chanting USA as you guys are bringing in the returns. A lot of hope that the former president will be 47. It's just a matter of when it might be called. So thanks for indulging us here on Fox Nation. We just wrapped our coverage, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you, Pete. There's probably some good music down there, too.
Exactly. Say hi to everybody for us down there.
Maybe not New Edition, but something. Let's bring in our panel. Welcome back, Carl Rove, Jessica Tarloff, and Sandra Smith, and our regulars to the right. Sandra, great job looking into the Fox News voter analysis. What are you looking at?
All right, a few things. We haven't really talked about fracking in Pennsylvania, as we do wait on results to continue to come in there. Views on fracking. This is obviously key in this state, and we know that Kamala Harris flip-flopped on this issue. And so we're looking at how voters responded to that. 62% of Pennsylvania voters say that they favor expanding fracking in that state. Those voters backed Trump by more than 2 to 1. That was important to those voters. We'll see how that turns out. Another big difference, Michigan union voters, that vote is looking about the same with our Fox News voter analysis when we compare it to 2020. What might make the difference for Donald Trump in Michigan, white Catholics. Really interesting. He is at 61% of the vote with white Catholics. Harris is at 37%. Trump won white Catholics by 13 points in 2020. He has run that up to 24-point margin. That's a big difference in Michigan.
Difference.
That is a big difference.
And you wonder whether she should have gone to that dinner.
To the Al Smith dinner. She may be wondering that tonight. He showed up and gave his speech, and he has had a lot of support, mostly based on the pro-life issue. And
RFK Jr. was cutting ads for the Catholic vote in particular in battleground states.
As far as
I was just going to say, I think, when you look at the margins, at least at this moment in Wisconsin and Michigan, I think somewhere in Florida, RFK Jr. may be breathing a sigh of relief because he could have been a spoiler in those, but it looks, at least at this point, like the margin is big enough.
I do think we have to bring up the youth vote again. I mean, what a difference we are seeing from 4 years ago. Those voters under the age of 30 going for Harris over Trump by 8 points. 4 years ago, they favored Biden by 25 points. I mean, this is a huge difference. And we dive in at the state level, you are seeing what a difference that makes where he is outperforming what we saw earlier leading into this in the polls.
And how crazy is that the younger candidate, you know, there was a lot of talk that a younger candidate would draw younger voters, but Joe Biden drew them in a larger numbers than she appears to have.
Carl, you've been on the back end of nights like this. You have been digging into the numbers. What board do you have for us now?
There you go.
Where we began. It all comes down to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania that goes for Trump will settle the contest. It will be mathematically impossible for her to win.
So as you looked at tonight, what did you see as it unfolded?
You know, as it unfolded, a little bit of change. Earlier in the evening, it looked like he was doing slightly better in the big city urban areas. And in some suburbs, like in Georgia, he was not doing as well. But tonight in Pennsylvania, for example, he's doing better in all four of the southeastern suburban counties, as well as doing better in the rural parts of the state. And it is an unusual coalition. It's inner city ethnics, it's Catholics who have been for decades the principal swing vote in America, increasingly Hispanic voters among them. And he's knit together that coalition tonight, along with working class people in small towns and rural parts of the country.
If I could just add one data point from our FNVA on Pennsylvania on the white Catholics, it looks like Trump is running about 1 point, almost exactly the same as 2020. In fact, Trump's actually down 1 point with the white Catholics in Pennsylvania. So that's about the same. But union voters, he's also seeing a down arrow there, about 3 points. He's running down below his 2020 levels.
So there's still hope for the blue wall for the Harris campaign. What are you hearing?
That there's still hope. Obviously, I didn't love to see the go take a nap and we'll get back to you in the morning about all of this, but we do have to keep in mind that the race in 2020 wasn't called for days, that Biden won Pennsylvania on Friday of that week and Wisconsin on Thursday, I think that it was. So we'll see. They think it's close, that there's vote coming in. There was, some conversation over how much of the remaining vote in Philadelphia existed, and there was an extra 120,000-ish votes that were out there that could go into Harris's column. Two things, though, that I've been thinking about. One, and Dana knows this well, how much I love to throw out a good door-knocking stat, right? So 2,000 door knocks a minute for the Harris campaign. Does any of that stuff matter anymore? And we'll see how this pans out. She could win with the simple route through. She already, getting Nebraska second. But the Harris campaign ran a conventional campaign, right, where raising money, souls to the polls, that kind of stuff matters. Will that be the path going forward? The second thing is, if this night doesn't end up going in Harris's direction, and barring some big change, she will have underperformed Biden in 2020 in every single demographic except college-educated women. And even with college-educated women, it wasn't the overwhelming win that we thought it was going to be, or that was projected in some of these very prominent surveys. And when you think about the fact that there were some people, I didn't think we were going to win Iowa, but that we had seen surveys where he was only up 5 in Kansas or up 3 in Ohio. It's going to take a lot of refocusing to understand really what happened here. And it doesn't seem like it was one decision that the Harris campaign did. I'm sure if she loses Pennsylvania, there'll be a lot of Josh Shapiro discussion. This feels much bigger than any decision about having him on the ticket or going to the Al Smith dinner.
So, Carl, when Jessica just brought up a potential for 150,000 votes in Philadelphia County, I saw your head kind of swing around. Does that not make sense to you?
Well, no. I mean, we're pretty good at saying 89% of the vote is, 95% of the vote is in, and that not turning out to be. That turns out to be accurate. It's very rare. I can't imagine in one instance where we've looked at a number and seen 90% of the vote in or 85% of the vote in, and that turned out to be grossly off. I will say this, though. I do want to follow up on one thing. Think about all that she had to face. This is an abysmal number when it comes to the approval of the sitting president. No party has elected a president when their sitting incumbent had as low a job approval as this president had. take a look at the right direction, wrong track. I mean, 2/3 of the American people say the country's going in the wrong direction, and she represents the party in power. To me, it's it's amazing that she's come as close as she has, given that
the administration.
Yeah, she was the vice president in a very unpopular administration, and yet tonight again, Britt made the point earlier. The Electoral College will serve the purpose of translating a relatively small difference between these two people. Look at Pennsylvania, 50.9 to 48.1. And yet at the end of the day, a series of victories that are 1 and 2 and 3 points are going to generate a commanding number in the Electoral College that will help the new president again, if it all goes like it looks like it's going, to be more effective in office.
Harold Ford, are there going to be Biden people that say he could have been better?
Like, I think it's hard to make that case for some of the reasons, and I think Britt and Carl have made the point. I think three things. I listen to Sandra's data. I'm curious, as we get a day or so away from this, as we look at what happened with the performance amongst women for her. Did she win African American women, Hispanic women, white women at a bigger rate?
Yo, Chris, what's up, man?
Between the two. And then the race thing for me, I'm going to be curious also to get more. We heard that the numbers around Hispanic voters, but even black voters, where that might be. And interesting, Carl, normally you see a race where, in the country, where the cultural issues impact, as you were talking about, the suburban areas. In some places he wasn't performing. And you see the suburban areas in Pennsylvania and elsewhere where the economic issues, fracking, and the livelihoods of those communities were at stake. Then you have the cultural issues. I think the issue around transgender rights was a bigger issue than Democrats really understand what it meant, and what it meant for girls playing sports. I'm a father of a son and a daughter. What it means if little boys are playing and little girls sports and going in the bathrooms. I don't think we've not gotten our head fully around that issue. So there'll be a lot of reckoning, and to Jessica's point, and I think a lot of reimagining who we are as a party, which I think will be good for the party if indeed the trend continues where it is this evening.
I'm not going to belabor this point, but for a candidate who Democrats who really were aggressive, and a media that echoed that, called him racist and a Nazi, and yet today to see the black vote and the Hispanic vote going exponentially more than it did before is really quite something. I mean, it's just startling, Britt.
Well, it's a further sign of the decline of the influence of the mainstream media, which tends to take its cues, to say the very least, from Democrats, and to repeat with serious faces the charges he made and the sometimes outlandish claims that he's made about Donald Trump.
We could be getting ready for a call here soon. We're going to
shoot. I hope it's up like Trump.
And we're going to go to Bill Hemmer, because you're looking at Pennsylvania. Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, sorry, they were talking to me. Go ahead. What's
How come I always talk to you when they're talking to you?
Because there's a lot to be said over here.
All right. So
figure.
Pennsylvania we're still looking at, but we're also looking at the national popular vote.
Yeah.
Which he's currently leading.
Yeah. One thing I was looking at here. Okay, this is Philadelphia. This is 2016. This is Trump's margin in Philadelphia, 15.5. Okay. Then he comes back 4 years later. Philadelphia, that's where I mean, it's a Republican running in a blue part of the state. He's just shy of 18. Okay, so where is he tonight? He's almost at 21. Okay, so hold on that moment here, okay? There's a reason for this.
Wow, that was a nice move.
Yeah, like that? You caught me off guard. So let's go ahead and look at the vote difference for Pennsylvania. Some things I want to show you right now. You know, we talked about this Democratic march over here. Really, when we talk about the blue wall, here's where we stand right now, okay? Gotta reach higher than that. Trump's just shy of 3 percentage points, now ticking down at 2.7. That's a live number that continues to come in. Go ahead and clear this. Kevin, widen out there a minute. Let's look at the vote margin for Pennsylvania. I'm going to show you the blue wall and how, you know, if it's moved every direction for the past 3 decades, is it about to move in the same direction yet again? Right? There's 3 counties here in Philadelphia that really tell a story. These are your flipper counties, all right? Look at Northampton. All right, Northampton is above Philadelphia. Trump's leading in Northampton. That flip for Biden, it's flipped back to Trump by about 5 points. Look at the other end of the state in Erie. Erie's one of these bellwethers as well. Kamala Harris has been leading there most of the night, and just about 30 minutes ago, Erie flipped. In Center County, right smack dab in the middle of that T that you normally get in Pennsylvania. Center County has always been the exception. It's been blue. That's where Penn State University is located, etc. But that is another indication about how well Trump has done in Pennsylvania thus far tonight. There's a real good chance he flips all those and maybe more shortly. So I want to show you that. We'll go ahead and clear it and give it back to you guys, okay?
Well, it's really interesting. We've got some action because we're hearing the former president is going to his party in West Palm, but we're also seeing Cedric Richmond in Harris Walsh campaign co-chair speaking at the Harris Walsh party. Let's listen.
Votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. So you won't hear from the vice president tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow. She will be back here tomorrow to address not only the HU family, not only to address her supporters, but to address the nation. So thank you. We believe in you. May God bless you. May God keep you. And go HU and go Harris. Thank you all.
Cedric Richmond, the campaign co-chair, and it's hard to ignore the fact that this is the mirror image of 2016 when John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chair, came out around the same time of night and said, you know, we're still counting votes and you won't hear from her tonight, you'll hear from her tomorrow.
Which is stunning. Go HU, by the way, is Howard University. That's where the campaign headquarters party is. But the vote is still going. They're not stopping. The counting is still continuing in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Nevada. So, you know, as you start getting to a decision here, and we could be getting close to a decision.
A lot of alts haven't really. I mean, Bitcoin's the only one that's really done very, very, very well. But it is actually in a range right now from last I checked. Let's pull it up.
Yeah, up over 6 points, 6.3 now. The margin's getting larger for Trump here. Raw vote count is 200.
Which technically, Bitcoin's in a range too, but it's a much massive range. Actually, it did break out. Hold on. It defaulted to 15 seconds.
And Wayne, once they
No, it hasn't broken out yet. Dang. It's kind of this range right here.
Kent County, he has closed 3 campaigns in Grand Rapids, and he just closed this one there last night.
Yeah, Kent County has been stubborn for Donald Trump. I think he
about right there. Looking pretty good though.
When Joe Biden took
Let's take that off.
Right now in Kent County, she's got a pretty.
It's looking pretty nice though.
About 10 points. It's a remarkable thing when you think about it. You know, the Gerald Ford Museum is there.
Pretty clean trade setup. At least this one, you know, after that first touch there. Didn't get the swing fail pattern though. Although you did get it on this one right here. That would have been a nice trade to take. I don't really trade Ether that much. Not that it's not a good coin to trade, but does look pretty nice though. That 12-hour candle right here. Jeez. Give us some time. Give us some time. Accumulate, right?
He rolled into Florida at 5:30 in the morning. That was yesterday morning. No, it wasn't. It was this morning, wasn't it? Right. Because it was Wednesday, right? Okay, you follow me on the calendar? Okay, yeah, okay. But it's been stubborn. It appears that it'll stick that way as well. Kent County and Grand Rapids will stay in the blue column. It's a changing area, you know, this west coast of Michigan. But what I'm seeing right now, even though you'll have just about 60% of the vote in, I'm seeing a lot of red lining up and down Lake Michigan. And for a while, that had changed. It seemed to be shifting a little bit. There's a county right here called Muskegon, beautiful part of the world. And that had seemed to be drifting in the Democratic column as well. But Trump's got a firm grip on it now, 16 points. And I'll just go west of Muskegon, south of Muskegon, west of Grand Rapids.
Crazy to see the dollar doing this. So strong. Haven't been at the charts as much as I'd like with all the moving going on and everything, but starting to get back into it again. Huh, DJT. No, I'm still not holding that one. After that Skrillex guy, Shrilly, whatever his name is, came out, he just pretty much came out saying that, Barron Trump wasn't going to come out and say anything. They were going to make their own coin. I got out of it. So I thought it would have been great. Although the stock itself is doing really well. I don't know if you've seen the actual stock market stock of DJT. It's done really well. This thing has done pretty well. Surprising. Had a pretty good pullback today. Jeez, I didn't realize that.
Fox News can now project that the state of Georgia will go to former President
Nice.
Trump. This was a really hard-fought battle. If you think about Georgia loses it.
Georgia. It's going to Trump. One I really like right now, Bellator. This thing is looking so beautiful. I bought this COVID time. Boy. It has just taken off. 39. What are we at now? Yeah.
4 years ago, after losing Georgia, they tried to salvage 2 Senate races.
Pretty sure I bought this under 15.
That didn't go well either. So
Then we had that COVID run, and then it just kind of fizzled out a little bit. But I mean, it's starting to take off again. It's crazy to see some of these stocks take off like they are.
College vote at 248 for Trump and 216.
S&P still rallying, huh? Yeah, that's looking pretty darn good too. Coming up in this order block right here.
Darren, we got you out here. We were going to say, what happened?
I'm kind of surprised this hasn't been rallying as much as other items have. It's kind of crazy. Hasn't really moved too much. But I mean, back in the day, it was doing really well.
While we have you, how do you see this night? And was it like you thought going in?
I don't know. The next 4 years are going to be crazy. It's definitely going to be different for us. If Trump does win this, it's definitely going to be different. And I'm hoping it's good different, of course. As a businessman coming into the office is great, right? As long as it works, as long as people could be profitable from it day in, day out. And I think now people aren't. Yeah. I used to love trading PayPay, but I don't trade it anymore. What one I really liked was Wi-Fi. It was either Wi-Fi, not stock, crypto. It was either this one or the YFII. It might have been the YFFI. Let's see. I love trading this thing. Yeah, I think it was this one. I think because the other one's going to be lower. No, maybe it was this one. Yep, it was 9,000. No, it was this one. I was right. Yeah. Yeah, this was fun to trade too. I remember trading when I first started getting on a Mexi. Man, I started trading this really well.
We're also looking at what we call the outstanding vote. And so, for instance, in the case of Georgia, we were modeling about 835.
Sorry, these are all messed up right now. These are the ones that I haven't released, unreleased versions of these indicators. So I have a lot to work to do. I need to give an update on the bots. I need to do updates for the indicator, just a lot of things. I'm almost settled in the new place. I still have a couple more boxes to unpack, set up a few more things. I got surround sound going in the living room. I need to get some better surround sound wire so it can go further. But it's been great. It's been a good move. Tiring move. Very unorganized. You move everything and then you just don't know where anything is. the other day I was looking for my authenticator and I thought I lost it. I did find it, but it's just hectic, you know, when you're moving and having to pack everything up, and you think like when you're moving and you're like putting things in boxes, you're like, oh yeah, I'll remember where this is. I know where this goes. This is a good place to put this, you know. And then like when you actually move everything and then you're looking for stuff, dang, I can't find anything, right? So, but things will start to normalize again. I do want to start doing more videos. I'm liking the whole YouTube route and everything, and yeah, I've always been shy to do it, but I think it's great. I love it. It's fun. It's enjoying. You know, I probably won't have like the best edited videos ever. I know a lot of these other crypto YouTubers have these awesome edited videos with splash, you know, images in front of them and stuff like that, but I just you know, I just want to make it clean, crisp, to the point, and to everybody, and hopefully help everybody in trading and being profitable themselves. So, but you know, things are great. I mean, if Trump does win, I think that's going to be very profitable for the crypto. There's going to be even more growth. We're coming up even more here on Bitcoin. I'm expecting big things, and we are breaking out now of this area, of this range area. Boy, great to see that. You know, as a trader, you like to see stuff like this. Like, you like to see breakouts and stuff, especially when you've been spot buying, you know, down here in this range. But this range was really fun to play. I mean, it was a really nice range to play. And I started my channel about this time that we started playing in this range. And it's been so enjoyable. It's been so fun. So it's kind of sad to like say, you know, farewell and goodbye to this range. But maybe we re-enter. You know, I am still looking for that swing fail pattern, but I don't know. With Trump coming in, it's tough. It's tough. You got to wait for weakness to come in, some candle closures below, and just, you know, ride it and see.
Well, I think the one thing we can say is that it didn't repel people. In particular, there was some talk about the...
Yeah, that's true. Starting out raw and uncut is always better. Yeah, I agree. You know, I stumble and say and stuff like that, and it's just very... You're right. It's just unique, and it's who I am. It's my personality. I'm very carefree. And it's funny because I'm kind of a perfectionist in real life. Like, you know, I want the indicators to do well. I want the bot to do well. I want things, you know, things that I do to do well. But then when I make my YouTube videos, I just want them to be me. You know, I just want them to just have me as, you know, just sitting there talking as me, and just straight to the point, and no filters and no extra, you know, fluff or anything. And I guess it's helped. I mean, the growth is there. People are watching. People are tuning in. You guys are enjoying it, I hope. And I like it. I enjoyed it. It's kind of addicting, especially the shorts. I feel like the shorts I post are pretty cool too. I actually enjoy posting shorts. It's really fun to do that. It's always fun. Troll a little too, right?
It ended on a Thursday. On a Friday, we had that national computer glitch. All the airports were shut down. So all the delegates and all the journalists and all the campaign folks were stranded at the airport in Milwaukee. And I was still thinking at the time about, you know, why did I just see Kid Rock? And why did I see Hulk Hogan? And why did I see Dana White? And I went to the campaign, I said, what's going on there? Because it was men. It was white men. And they said, we notice in the upper Midwest, at the time they were thinking about Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, there was a certain percentage of white men who voted in 2016. They sat out 2020, and we're trying to win them back. Is there evidence that those white males in those upper Midwest states did that tonight?
There was sort of a rule of thumb we were adopting that, and we spoke about this a little bit earlier in conversation with y'all, but that, you know, the gender gap is a double-edged sword. The gender gap can help or hurt depending upon, you know, the absolute level of support. We were looking at 55%. In other words, if Trump was hitting 50%...
There's always the saying, where, thank you, one man show. There's always this saying where if you can't turn $100 into 1,000, how do you turn 1,000 into 10,000 or 10,000 100,000? So it's not so much the speed or pace you go, it's how you go about it. I learned very quick trading every move, or possibly looking to trade every move, was killing me. And sometimes finding those moves that, you know, are precise moves that have bigger gains and less risk hold value more, you know. Looking for the bottom of the range like we have in my videos in the past, and speaking about those and finding these swing fail patterns down here at the lows. Like if you guys remember, you know, months ago when we were coming up in this area, I was like, all right, we're having a swing fail pattern, get ready, this is a good area. And we took it back to the top. Now, again, you're not always going to be, you're not going to always have ranges like this. Like, you know, we don't have a range here. We have a little bit of a range here, a little bit right here, but we've been very fortunate. It's been very, very fun trading this area right here. But you're not always going to have ranges like this to trade. There's a little range right here as well. But really, I know what really helped me get to this point is just knowing that the markets are always going to be here. It's psychology, man. Everything is psychology. Just knowing that you might be wrong, you can be wrong, but sticking through your plans, sticking and finding where you need to trade, what trades you need to take. Like seeing this right here, swing fail pattern down here, and then, you know, you don't even have this on the chart, right? We just have this down here. Say we're sitting up over here, right? You don't even have to take the short. You don't even have to look for a short up here. You just see that this low right here, bottom of the range low, is right here. And I mean, you could wait till this wicks out and has all this and then comes back into range and play that. I mean, that's a massive gain right there on its own. Again, you're not always going to be in range, but when there is ranges, you got to play those ranges. And right now we're having some great ranges. But I think the biggest thing for me is when I first started, I would try to take every trade possible, regardless if it was a good trade or not. And I think that's like just a growing pain, and a thing that you learn on your own is experience. And we spoke about this before, G-Money. It's experience, and you'll gain it as time goes. But you can't teach somebody else experience. You gain experience. You trade the markets and you gain it. Now, you can trade other things too. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin. Bitcoin is very hard to trade. There's always stocks. Stocks can be traded as well. When I first started trading Bitcoin, it was hard. It was really hard. And it was during a bear market, which at the time I hated a bear market, but now I love bear markets. I enjoy bear markets better than bull markets because, you know, the concept of shorting it down and then making money off of it being shorted down and then buying it at lows for it to go back up. There's a bigger risk reward when it goes down, right? Because then you buy it and it goes back up and you make more. So that's why I've always liked bear markets. The thing with bull markets, it just gets crazy. Things just take off, like just random stuff. It's like, why did that do good? There's no reason it did good. It just did good because somebody bought it and everybody else bought it and they thought it was funny. It was a funny coin, right? You know, there's a lot of examples of that in 2020 during that bull run, and there's a lot of examples now in this bull run with like that the WIF coin and just other coins. If you're in the crypto market, you know, it's just like, why do these do good? Some of them just don't. But at the end of the day, like, you know, when you have Bitcoin and Ethereum and like the heavy hitters, there's still utility to those. So, you know, when you're trading it and it's a bear market, you have to rejoice that, you know, it's going down, but you're making money as it goes down. And at the same time, you're buying these lower so you could take it higher, right? And I think that was the thing that like hurt me so much in that first bear run that I had, because I didn't know how to trade it. I didn't trade it very well, obviously. I lost a lot of money. That's what got me into wanting to be a trader. And the great thing about it, though, is I lost all that money, but the assets were down. Like, they were all down a lot. Big percentages, which made it great for me because, you know, I could finally learn how to trading in the bear market. And then when the bull market came around, I did really well. And then on my spot buys, I did even better. So yeah, it's definitely real, not scripted at all. I would hate myself if I scripted at all. But there's times when I'm doing a video, you know, like I'll post a video to everybody, and it's like the first time I've actually looked at the charts that day. And it gets like that. You experience it, you get used to it, you see things, and then you run with it, you know, just like riding a bike.
Okay, 8 years ago when he's running against Hillary Clinton, this is his margin in New York. All right, 37.5 compared to almost 59 for Hillary Clinton, and then against Joe Biden.
I hope you guys can't hear the fan in the background. I can't. It's November and it's like 80 degrees out. It just doesn't make any sense, dude.
And now we come to 2020 and see the numbers on the board here. That's a pretty decent performance, and we're just getting some insight here in the New York City. He did well over 40% of the vote here in New York as well. One thing I was checking out here, guys, in this is the number, right? The path to 270. I guess in theory right now, if you were to close out, you know, you're at 248. If you were to close out Pennsylvania, and even though Alaska has ranked choice voting, which could take a while to
So on the Google results, we have Harris at 210 and Trump at 247. It looks like Trump might take PA, Michigan, and Wisconsin. I don't get Minnesota, man. They have Tim Walz there and everything. I just don't feel like he's a good leader. But yet they vote. Yeah. I'm a bit biased, I must say, but I'm only biased because I want it to benefit everybody, and I feel like a businessman will benefit everybody. It benefited me in 2016 when he came into office. Biden didn't benefit me in 2020. I've actually been worse off. A lot of people have been worse off since 2020, and I know a lot of you who are listening know some people in the crypto space in our groups and other groups who know that they haven't been better off these past 4 years. Some of you might be surprised at the ones who have not been better off these past 4 years. You know, when you're in the States, I can't really relate or say overseas, wherever you may be, but I know in the States, people I talk to who are in our crypto space, who are in my groups and stuff, in either Crypto Faces group or my group or any other groups out there, Chart Champions, the ones I talk to, you know, they say the last 4 years have just really sucked. And it's not so much, you know, crypto and trading and stuff. It's just general things, just general like life, you know, like life things. Not everything's about crypto, obviously, but this channel is about crypto until today, right? Just for today, just a little politics for today. But, you know, the last 4 years have been tough for them. And, you know, it doesn't matter how hard you trade or how well you trade. If prices are rising and things are unaffordable, it's tough. It's hard. You have to step away from things you love to do things that you need to do to get to live, right? So I think that's just the biggest thing. You know, 2016 to 2020 was great, minus COVID. But that was just something that was very random and happened. But 2020 to 2024 has just been tough for a lot of people. I've had a little here and there. It's been tough for me. But I've been very fortunate. I've been very blessed and very fortunate. And I hope others who are watching have been blessed and very fortunate as well. So how long did it take me to go full-time trading? I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years, I guess. I hate to say it's been a while. I didn't really stick, like I started and then did it and then kind of did things on the side, and I've always had things that I've done on the side. It's kind of a stress thing for me, you know. It's tough to sit there and say, okay, I need to make like $5,000 so I can feed my family. So that's always been a thing for me. I've always been busy doing other things as well, you know, just in case I can't find a good trade to take. So it kind of makes me not take those massive amounts of trades, you know, like those trades you just don't need. Like, you know, you wait a couple weeks for the bottom of this range and you don't trade for, you know, a whole month or a month and a half. And you're not sitting there like, oh, shoot, I need to trade now, otherwise I can't feed my family. Or shoot, I need to trade now or I can't feed myself. So, you know, it's tough to say how long it takes to be a full-time trader. It's more of like, how long does it take to be comfortable trading and to be profitable enough that you could supplement your life by just trading. And I feel like my life is kind of expensive in a sense. So I guess 4 or 5 years would be like an understatement to it.
Give us an update on what your overall take on the night so far.
The 2-hour lib grab alert.
House situations as well.
One of my alerts went off, I guess.
Did an extraordinary job. They surpassed all
Oh yeah, it is. I think it is. Let me look. Hold on. I didn't even see that go off. I guess it did a little while ago. Yeah. So it just broke out of this area right here.
Maybe even narrower than you have now, you said.
Yeah, it may be exactly the same or maybe smaller.
But it's delayed because it's on the candle close, so it would have been this. It would have been this one right here.
I think we're going to pick those both up.
Since it's on candle closure, so it would have been for. It would have been for the candle, this 2-hour candle right here. I don't really use it too much. I kind of just still have it going right now, but these are kind of alerts I use right now. These are for the bot, which I need to update further on the bot. I'm kind of annoyed with it right now. It hasn't really made much since this run up, and I think it could make more, hasn't lost any though. That's always great, but at the same time I feel like it could make more, and I need to just modify it a tad bit more to go with the trend better. I did want to show this too, but let me go back. Let me duplicate this real quick. I did want to show the last script for the bot trading stuff. Of course, I had it up initially, and then I lost it. I think it's right here.
But Juan Williams, if it's as big as we think it could be.
Oh, I guess it's on this one. Huh. Interesting. Whoops. Okay, I know it seems like there's a lot here, but just disregard. Let me just hide those right now. So I have it where, and I think I discussed. I've just had a lot going on recently, so. But I think I discussed this a little bit in the last video where I was going to change it with the trend or against a trend or a neutral trend. So I just need to work on the kind of how it identifies the trend. I have super trend identification, ADX, and then price action, and then I have baked in juxtapose and how juxtapose is pointing and working, but I don't have any variables actually shown, like being able to modify. So I might take out ADX, but I do want to add ADX, like an ADX take profit and ADX stop loss. But when I first initially did it, I had really bad results with it. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I do it as like a check, like you can either use it or not. Buyer beware, right? And then for the trend, I kind of pick these time frames. They're just the default ones, but normally I'll do since I'm on a lower time frame, I'll do like 15, 30, 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe like 5, and like a 10. And then I just run it through there. But I gotta mess with it a bit more because I'm on the 6-hour too though, but I do need to mess with it a bit more because it's not giving me the results I quite want. I keep getting a lot of bullish trends, even though we weren't in a bullish trend. In this case, we are, obviously. But if you go back to when we were dropping, I just kept getting bullish trends. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So it's just something with the code is just, I don't know. So I'm going to strip super trend. Actually, what I was going to do is I'm going to make super trend, ADX, and the price action all variable selections like true or false, and then see which one's kind of breaking. So, but yeah, still to work, still some work to be done on this, right?
And the bro strategy largely worked along the lines of white men.
Yeah, I know. I should look at the ATR TP SLs. My first time with them, I kind of didn't have a good reaction with them, so I kind of went away from. But like I said, I think I'm going to do, you could do a percentage base, or you can use ATR, and then you can kind of mess with the configuration yourself. But I did add commission percentage on here as well, because I know we've been working with that. And I do want to release the script to everybody so you guys could test it out and trial and run and stuff. I just haven't been comfortable finishing it yet. Well, not comfortable finishing it. I got really busy, and I'm not comfortable releasing it because it's not complete. How about that? It's just been very busy for me, and I'm thinking, let's see, November. My birthday's coming up soon. Not that that's an excuse, but I'll probably take some time away. Even though I've been taking 3 weeks already away from moving and everything, but you always have to have some time to yourself, right? You have to have some time to just live life, right? But yeah, it's definitely, the timestamp and like what I spoke about in the group and everything and said is not quite where we are with the bot. Like what I told and said in the timeline and everything is just so much further than what we spoke about in the group. But things happened. I wanted to make it better. Making it better is I've came into issues. I freaking hate PineScript a lot of the times. It's just so annoying. But challenges. There's always going to be challenges, whether you're trading, making a bot, moving, having somebody in an office you don't like. There's always going to be challenges, and you have to overcome that. That's what makes life great, right? Overcoming challenges.
Inflation, which has decimated their purchasing power, and illegal immigration, which has affected their communities deeply. And to suggest that
so what weakness do you look for? Swings, 4 hour, 6 hour, 12 hour. Sometimes the higher time frame takes too long and you miss the top or bottom. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, man. Sometimes you will miss the top or bottom. But the biggest thing, my bread and butter, is the swing fail. Well, the 2 hours my favorite, but the trend has kind of been up, so you can't really trade shorts as hard, as difficult. Let's see, I did have a short. I don't remember where. I want to say my short was like right around here, because we topped out this area. Let me pop up Juxtapost again here. This looks so beautiful right here, though. But I want to say maybe it wasn't there. Actually, no, it was here. Let's see, October 30th. Let me see when my last video was again. I forget. I closed it out. Then I got moving. Let me see. But I want to say it's around this time.
The fact that some of these issues around the economy and the border were not addressed more forthrightly, I think had an impact. That being said, we're going to have some analysis around this and around whether or not the...
Yeah, so I posted this 12 days ago, which will put us out...
How did it work? Did the gender gap with women, did black women, white women, Hispanic...
About the 24th, 25. Wow, it's been that long? So it might have been a trade here. Here, let me see what the entry was.
More to talk about here. There's a lot more coming up as election night moves on at 1:15 on the East Coast. We continue to get more vote in. We will be able to make some calls when that vote is in full. Our coverage continues next. Stay with us.
11 days. I was looking at the wrong video. This was 11 days. I want to say it was like 72 something, wasn't it? No, it was... 60... Hold on a second.
This is our legacy. I won't let anyone take it.
The epic return of Yellowstone.
I can see it now. I know what to do.
There is no morality.
60...
This is war.
We fight here.
68?
Or we die here.
68, 465. 68, 465. So it must have been right around here. Yeah, which would make sense because I would have taken the double top here. Which is a difficult trade to take. We did have this bearish divergence forming right here. Came down on it tested support, and then came back up, retested resistance, and then fell through. But for me, weakness, the biggest thing with weakness is when you see these wicks right here. See how you get that wick right there? Kind of creates this. Let me find a good example. Another wick, large wicks right here. You also had, you see juxtapost right here, has all this bearish divergence on it. This one's a bit, I would say that this trade that I took here was a very difficult trade. You know, it's difficult to say other than there was a double top. I had bearish divergence, came back up, tested it again, took the trade. Stops at the high right there. That was a difficult one. We had a really nice pullback on that though, but that price action was kind of ugly to say the least. But like here's a good trade right here. Swung, failed that area, came back down. It would have been perfect right there. But for me, when I think of weakness, I think of something where we kind of just stall out here and then we fall back in. And it's really just one time frame dependent, especially in an area that you have resistance or support in, and you start seeing it flip and coming down on it, and nobody's coming in to buy. A lot of these, you know, resistance zones I have here have been sitting here for a long time.
Hear well, feel well. From your first appointment, try our new nearly invisible solution risk-free.
Let's see if I have anything on this one. I think I have a lot more on this one. Yeah. So the biggest thing I like using is, you know, when you have these areas, these really smart areas that you've traded in the past. Like you remember one of my videos, we had this area where I was looking for this bounce. We came and bounced up here, came back down. Look at this. We came over here and we tested that area again and then fell. So here's a good example of some weakness. Swung, failed this area, came back down, red candle, broke down this area of support right here. And this is like an area that I've used for a long while, you know, like these are past areas that I've used. Let's see. Kind of swung, fill this area right here. This has kind of just been a very important area. Now, when I first started my channel and stuff and I was doing videos, I spoke about this area right over here. I think it was May 1st. It seems about right. I wish I still had the drawing, like the circle and drawing of it. I like this area because we had the swing fail right here, came down here and tested this 3 times, bounced from it, and then, you know, clearly this area right here was perfect for a swing fail. Came down here and tested it. We came lower right there. So, you know, knowing that this price was created here, right? You see all that being created right there. And then in my video, I spoke about this area coming down here and testing this, which was a direct swing fail to this area. And now I put this as a little bigger. I made this line a little bigger because this was a strong area of support. Came under here. Now this is kind of like showing weakness of like bears being defeated. So you come down, you wick down here, have this large wick, you know, like I spoke about earlier, we have these large wicks here, come back into the range, and then we're practically off to the races, other than this fake out down to the bottom, which will happen, unfortunately. Never will be perfect. But this is the weakness of, like, you know, the bears are just giving up. And then we swung fill that as well. And then it's been, this range has been very nice. We keep swinging, and we keep swinging lower on you know, Bitcoin more so than on the highs, which it's tough. It's tough because, you know, you see lower lows, you know, and lower highs, and you're like, well, that's pretty bearish. But Bitcoin is notorious for doing things like this. Like, it makes it look like it's bearish, and then it just finds some way to break out or does something dramatic. This candle is insane right now. This candle is absolutely insane right now to see. But here's the double top right here, I think. Yep, the double top's right there. Now, other than like the 2-hour double top that I saw, I didn't really have any other conviction of taking that trade. I want to say that there was some news going on that kind of helped tell me that this was a good trade to take. Where'd it go? Right here.
Where the vote is in Michigan, where the vote is in Nevada,
So it's just experience. And, you know, it's crazy. We hit this order block, bounced right up. Would have been a great trade to take too. Sometimes you got to be aggressive. You know, sometimes you won't see weakness. Sometimes there's no weakness to be found. You can't really say that this is weak. Like, this is going to dump. I mean, you have some wicks. That's it. Now, if we started coming down here, testing this area, and there wasn't any bounce, and we just sat around here and kind of played a little bit, and then, you know, we started teetering down, that would be some weakness. But there will be trades that you got to take. For me, now that we're coming into this area and we're literally swing failing this, I'm not looking to short anytime soon. But for me, I kind of want to see what our reaction is at R2 and see what that does for us. 76.7. But I'm not going to be interested in taking this until we come back into this zone right here, come back down here in this area, possibly go back to this old support zone. Like, this is an important support spot right here. This is an old resistance zone. Now, it's good. It's good to have these on your charts, you know. But ideally, have this come down here, test this area, see what type of bounce we get. Maybe we don't get a bounce on this area. Possibly look for a position on this, kind of like trying to rise back up and then take it back down. But this looks beautiful right now, and I'm not really looking to short it anytime soon. And I'm sure the weekly's looking really beautiful. Yeah, I mean, you know, I always speak about the weekly. If the weekly was looking more like that, yeah, I'd be so eager to look for a short. But I'm not quite ready for a short yet, right? Anyways, how do I draw my resistance zone? So most of my resistance zones are swing fail patterns based on some area. So these swing fail patterns right here are my resistance zones that I've created, especially this one. This was a really important one. The same concept for the bottom here, support zones right here. You see this like large cluster right here, swing fail. Practically swing failed this area. I mean, briefly, barely. But those are just strong areas that I like to put emphasis on. And this is kind of like a little range we played for a while here. Much smaller range. But they don't happen often, and when they do, those are good to take advantage of, right? But you don't see them often. At least not the range that we've had like this. Like, this is a much bigger range. Very volatile range to play. It's been great. It's been wonderful. But yeah, I mean, normally my resistance zones are near... They're not perfect. I mean, nobody's resistance zones are going to be perfect, but it's just kind of like, okay, here's this area. You know, this might be possibly a resistance zone. You know, it's just a line on the chart, right? So just because you have a line there that says this is a resistance zone doesn't mean it really is. But the concept of it, yes, it should be, right? I mean, there's been a lot of... I drew this practically, I'm pretty sure I drew this like right around here. And I mean, it's been pretty accurate for the most part. Like, you know, it's not going to be like to the T. There was a wick here, there was a wick there. But ever since I drew it, it's been pretty accurate. So those are the ones you need to just keep note of. There was the one that was like 40 something. Hold on, it's like right over here, which I actually didn't draw, and I should have. This one right here, this bounce right here of the swing fail. See, this would have been nice to do right here. So say, you know, replay this. Let's replay this to like right here, right? And you don't know any info about Bitcoin. You don't know what it's going to do or anything, and you're like, all right, so I'm looking at this 50. I'm looking at this area down here, this like 50 area right here. This kind of looks like a nice area for us to find some support or come back. You know, come back to that area. It could be, since we're up here, it could be a possibility of a swing fill pattern. Like you just have to you're drawing a picture, you know, you're just drawing a picture. So this would be kind of nice to see a swing fill this area, come back up, et cetera, right? And then, you know, as time goes on, that happens and you see that, and then, you know, there you are, right? It went much deeper than this area did, you know, and that's tough. That's why you need to be careful when you're leverage trading. You need to be able to account for that happening. Yeah, I use wicks. not really. I mean, wicks, candle closures, it's all about the same. For me personally, I mean, sometimes if a wick looks better than a candle closure, I'll use it. But in this case, you know, I have a couple wicks here, candle closure there, candle closure here, a wick there. So just overall, that's just a very important area to use. Here's wicks. You know, it just really, it varies. Here's candle. Well, I guess technically I created that here, so that's kind of a candle wick-ish. I mean, again, they don't have to be 100% accurate. You kind of just need, it's just an area that you need to look at, you know. And then the bigger the line is, the more that area is important to me, right? So, and then I still use, you know, generic Fibonacci levels as well, a couple here and there. I don't use them as much as I should. I should use them a lot more, especially in my videos. I don't use them hardly much in my videos. And that's probably something I should use more. But, you know, the biggest thing is using my indicators, which do pretty well, right? You're on the 2 hour here. Had a little bit of a pullback there. This one would have been a great play. So, just got to keep it simple. But yeah, the 2 hour liquidity grab alert was, you can set them as, they're on Serenity. So you just do like right click, add alert. And then it's, I want to say it's like liquidity high, liquidity lows. So
that is sane and an immigration system that works. I think a lot of people over in the Middle East are looking for Iran to pull back in the face of a president whom they fear. And, you know, look, I think it's going to be incumbent on the Democratic Party to understand that the people...
Should probably not make it an SFP. It should be like an order block, though. OB or something. Since it kind of confused you with this, you know. Something I'll have to change. I do need to do an update for everything, but one thing I do not have is time. Time would be nice to have. 2 hours starting to show some exhaustion on this topping out signal right here. Whoa, we had a nice little pullback there. Dang. Well, we did get our all-time high that I spoke about in a few of my videos. I hope everybody remembers those. It's kind of crazy to see the dollar doing what it's been doing, though, I must say. I mean, that looks really good. Gosh, that looks beautiful. Strength in the dollar and strength in Bitcoin is pretty wild, I must say. Who knows, right? All right, let's see the results on Google.
Over the next 4 years, and in a way, reset. And we talked about this earlier, but he saved entrepreneurship.
Not that I should trust Google, right? 247 Trump, 214 Harris. PA is turning red. 92% reporting. So I don't know if Fox Business called it already, though. But
so I could go to Geneva, go to Abu Dhabi, go to Riyadh, and say it's 21% corporate taxes, 100% not going to change. That is very important for people like me that bring capital back to this country. It fixed itself. It fixed itself. And I think that's why America works. It has worked for 200 years. When it gets too crazy, it fixes
I love Kevin Leary.
And whether you love Trump or you
He's great. He's on Fox Business a lot, and I love watching him. Smart guy. Very smart guy. Probably would never buy his books, but maybe I eat my shorts, right? Buy his book.
Speaking of Bitcoin, I'm also struck by just calling Pennsylvania here, Dana. Trump embraced Elon Musk in an enormous way. A lot of stories were written.
There we go. I think they said they just called Pennsylvania. Very nice. Very nice.
Didn't know what they were doing. He's going to.
And he got a lot of criticism. Remember the $1 million giveaway for registered voters? But Selena Zito, who's somebody that we follow and we've had on the show many times, and she knows that area very well. She said the people of that region love somebody who is a big thinker who wants to create jobs, who is like looking into the future, and they can get behind that. And they love somebody who can really lead. And leadership takes courage. And you have to be willing to make decisions where you are going to be criticized. I think this is one of the problems that Kamala Harris has always had. She doesn't want to take a position on anything. We haven't even talked about how in California, the law to basically make shoplifting illegal again passed overwhelmingly. And Gascon, our friend down, the DA in Los Angeles, lost by 22 votes. I mean, this is in California, so it was everywhere. And 2 days before, 22 points, thank you, she wouldn't even take a position on that. 75% of the people in California wanted it gone, and you can't take a position to be with them?
Not only that, you were part of Prop 47, which changed the law the other way when you were in office.
So not wanting to take a position and not being willing to be criticized is a problem if you want to be a leader at that level.
She had that affliction in 2020. Why didn't her own party say, you're not the right candidate? I mean, run a process.
Well, they did. They ran her out of town right before any votes were cast in 2019.
But the same
and then she's
affliction
out of there.
hit her here. The same problem she had in 2020 hit her in 2024.
She's the same person.
I mean, it's not all her fault. They put her in a race that she, well, we now know couldn't win.
But Karen, in fairness to Democrats, there's no doubt. I agree with you on the unrealized capital gains. We shouldn't be taxing that. But we produce more wealth, more innovation, more oil, more cures, more therapeutics over the last 3 years. So I hear you. Democrats are not bad for the economy. Some things she proposed that I'm with you on. But we're a great country, and we're going to continue to be great. And I trust and hope and believe that President
Your party will be great again.
I want the
and you can thank Donald Trump for that.
But he inherited an economy also that was in pretty good shape. I don't want to quarrel about that. All I want is going forward. I agree with you. I want the country to be great, and I hope that both of the parties can work together to try and do that. And I salute President Trump tonight. What a great win. And I agree with you in this regard. My party's got to reimagine and reinvent itself going forward.
Listen, I wrote about this, the unity and
you did.
Past presidents and past losers and winners and what they said. This is a big speech, Britt, for former President Trump. As he gets ready to deliver this in front of a crowd, he's obviously taken the slings and arrows and everything that's been said, the fascism, all of the things we've talked about tonight. But this moment is actually a moment to reach out.
It's an opportunity if he chooses to do that, but it's also 1:30 in the morning. So you got to wonder how many people are alive to hear.
Oh, they're there.
And
he's definitely.
A lot of people are still up.
The question is, how much of the national TV audience is?
I bet they're still in.
You know, I think back at the moment in Iowa at the beginning of this process, Brett, when we were in a town hall with him, bless you, Brett, and he, we asked him about all of this revenge stuff and that he was going to want retribution, and this is what everyone heard. And there were times when he had language that was that matched that, but he said that he wanted success to be his revenge and that he wanted a successful America. And I would imagine that we're going to hear something along those lines tonight, but we'll see.
Brett, you wrote in your piece, you quoted one of those great old Republican presidents, H.W. Bush, who said that a campaign is a disagreement and an election is a decision. And decisions clear the way for harmony and peace.
You know,
but listen, there are a lot of Thanksgiving tables that people are still going to have hard feelings after this election, more than any other election.
I have one of them.
And if you passing the Brussels sprouts is not going to be as easy Thanksgiving Day. But this is a chance to move forward, Brett. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that one thing that can happen here, and it happened to Biden in my view. Biden was elected. We had every reason to believe that he would be this sort of moderate deal-making guy that he'd been when he was in the Senate. Yes, he's always followed sort of the drift of his party, but he worked across the aisle with many senators, had Republican friends and so on. We thought that would probably be the kind of president he was. And then something happened. Trump went to Georgia and made a mess of that Senate, those two Senate races down there. And the Democrats ended up with control of the Senate, at which point old Biden started getting these historical sugar plums dancing in his head and went out for a very aggressive agenda.
Sure, there were articles about FDR.
Oh, yeah,
he was going to be the next FDR.
Next FDR. He was going to out-Obama Obama. Remember that?
Yep.
Well, and that, in my view, that was he would have been, if the Republicans had maintained control of the Senate, first thing that wouldn't have happened was all that wild spending that led to the inflation, or led to a big part of the inflation. And Biden and the country would have been better off because of it. There's always a danger in overreading your mandate. One wonders if Trump will be sober-minded about his.
I think that happened to Biden. Early on, remember he said he's going to be returned to norms, and then the historians came in and said, no, you could be bigger than FDR. So he says, fine, okay, I'll spend all the money. Then they cause inflation, and now they end up with this result.
Well, he has said that this looks like new President Trump, if he gets to 270, which we expect he will, fairly shortly. Yes, exactly. Has a moment to bring about the unity that people expected after the last election. Of course, we would be kidding ourselves to think that there won't be a tremendous response to this, tremendous backlash in a lot of corners of the country.
So listen, he's going to get there because Alaska is going to be Republican, but we're not done as far as calling states. There could be even more states that go Trump's way. This could be a massive landslide just by what we're looking at in the polls. Fox News Decision Desk count now project, though, Vice President Harris will win Minnesota, and her running mate Tim Walz serves as the state's governor there. That takes it up to 267 to 226. But again, Donald J. Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. More Democracy 24 special coverage next.
If you have generalized myasthenia gravis, picture what life could look like with Vyvgart Hytrulo, a subcutaneous injection that takes about 30 to 90 seconds. For one thing, could it mean more time for you? Vyvgart Hytrulo can improve daily abilities and reduce muscle weakness with a treatment plan that's personalized to you. Do not use Vyvgart Hytrulo if you have a serious allergy to any of its ingredients. It can cause serious allergic reactions like trouble breathing and decrease in blood pressure, leading to fainting and allergic reactions such as rashes, swelling under the skin, shortness of breath, and hives. The most common side effects are respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions. It may increase the risk of infusion-related reactions and infection. Tell your doctor if you have a history of infections or symptoms of an infection. Talk to your neurologist about Vyvgart Hytrulo for GMG and picture your life in motion.
I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name.
The crime of title theft. What is that?
What that means is that a criminal, they're able to steal the title to your home, typically by transferring it to another person and then selling or borrowing money against the house. So it could be 6 months later, they start getting foreclosed on. The thing about home title lock is that never has to happen.
Why is that?
They notify you when there's any change to your title, and you're able to hopefully catch the thief in the middle of this whole process. And even if the title has been transferred out of your name, Home Title Lock has a restoration team that will come in, fix your title, and place the property back into your name. Title fraud is real. It's scary, but now there's a way to protect yourself.
Give us a call or go to HometitleLock.com and start your triple lock title protection today.
I march for babies like mine that were in the hospital NICU.
If we come together, we can help every mom and baby be healthy and strong.
Join March for Babies, a mother of a movement.
Hey, grab more delectables. You know, that lickable cat treat.
Delickable delectables.
Yes, just hurry.
Must be delicious.
Delectables, lickable treat.
Deliciously delectable delectables.
It is a very big night, and they are about to explode at Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach. You see thousands of people waiting, and we are about to hear from the next president of the United States. He will be 45 and 47, and we're waiting for him to join the room. We'll take you there, obviously, as soon as that gets underway. In the meantime, Grady Trimble is in Michigan. Let's get a quick update just outside of Detroit. Hi, Grady.
Hey, Martha. Yeah, people were getting a little bit tired here, but then the call for Pennsylvania was like a jolt of electricity through this room at the Michigan GOP watch party. And the crowd started chanting USA. They started chanting Trump, 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 as it now appears he will be the 47th president of the United States. Now, in addition to Trump and the call for him in Pennsylvania, they're also excited about the possibility that Michigan could be the state that tips him over that magic 270 number. We're also following a very close Senate race here in Michigan, and they're feeling very confident about that as well. Republican candidate Mike Rogers looks like he could cruise to victory with the help of former President Trump. Democratic candidate Alyssa Slotkin, she went out to her crowd at her watch party at around 12:30 tonight and told them to go home and go to sleep, where here they extended this ballroom venue all through the night if they had to, and now it looks like the crowd is fired up as they await former President Trump taking the stage.
Okay, Grady, thank you. It is really important to point out how big the coattails could be tonight. Think about Bernie Moreno in Ohio, was thought dead in the water against Sherrod Brown. He wins. We have right now at this hour, as Grady mentioned, Mike Rogers in Michigan is up. Looks like he is getting closer. We haven't made a call there yet. Hovde in Wisconsin, leading right now. Sam Brown in Nevada is closing in on Jackie Rosen. Wow. We're talking about historic numbers here. If all of these dominoes fall, you're talking about a Senate that could be 54-46, 55-45. That wasn't in the cards. That wasn't on anybody's bingo card when you came into election night.
But these candidates have all fought really strong races, and they have all closed in a very strong way. And in fact, many of them were sort of pulling into +5, +6 in just over the last 3 weeks. So it's a fascinating part of the story. Hopefully we'll be able to call some more of those soon. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says with these coattails, you could see the House going Republican as well, and that would be a part of this story as well. Let's go back out to Trace Gallagher on the West Coast with his panel. Hey, Trace.
Brett, thank you. Martha, thank you as well. We've got our panel, Steve Hilton, Jody Armour, Kayla McGee-White, and Jono Caldwell. You're talking to your panel, Brett and Martha, and we were talking to ours, and Kayla McGee-White was struck by the whole concept that, again, Trump was undercounted. Kayla.
This is the third consecutive polling miss in a presidential cycle for Donald Trump, and we really need to be asking ourselves, why do they keep getting it wrong? And at this point, it is a choice. Back in 2016, you could argue that you were blindsided. You didn't expect it. You cannot say that anymore. This was predictable from the very start. And I think the reason they keep getting it wrong is because they still don't understand the average Trump voter. They cannot wrap their heads around why so many people support him. And it's because for a long time, actually for the past decade or so, Democrats in power didn't think they needed to. And even worse, they didn't want to. They didn't want to have to stoop down to understand the concerns over immigration, over the economy. And guess what? The American people sent a very clear message tonight that you better start paying attention, and you better start paying attention soon.
We heard a lot of words, demographic. I don't know how many times we heard it, Steve Hilton, but Gianna, you talk about black voters, black male voters especially. We heard it again and again tonight, and you think it's worth talking about.
I think this is a historic night. Black men will now, those who voted for Trump will be counted as those who helped save America from further decline. I mean, Kamala Harris has tried her best to create these accents like, you better thank a union member, all of these things that she's done to try to appeal to this community, even going on Oprah Winfrey's talk show or whatever that was to say, oh, I'll pull out my gun and shoot someone that tries to come into my house. I mean, this has become nonsensical to the point that I don't know if we're looking at Medea runs for president or not. I mean, this is outstanding what has happened from the black male perspective, and I hope the Republican Party takes note.
Yeah, and you talk about young males and younger voters, Jody Armour. You're a law professor at the University of Southern California. You know what young people are geared into. Are you surprised when you see these voter analysis numbers that young voters came out heavy for Donald Trump?
Yeah, well, young voters can sniff out a fraud. They can sniff out somebody who's chameleon-like. She changes her position according to the prevailing winds. They didn't like that. Many across the country, young students said, for me, a red line also is mass